ready to run through the Palace of Iceberg as fast as humanly possible, or at least as fast as I can. So we have it open on CSP. I'm just going to scratch out anything I've already explained. Perfect Party Princess. This is referring to the Chihuahua that we have as our profile picture. Hot Mess Achman Ra is a Night at the Museum fan edit with Achman Ra to Cobra Starship's Hot Mess. Dr. Bronner's Soap from Hell. It's like a 36 in 1 or whatever. Drink leaves October 12th of 2023. For some of you, it was October 11th because of time zones, but for me, it was October 12th. We got in a big fight about Jordan Play Animal Jam, and they left. This is why Jordan deserved to die. Bryony and Brody Furry Convention. You guys went to a furry convention that was so cool. Bigfoot. I don't need to explain what Bigfoot is. I think we all understand what Bigfoot is. Ray Gwen Hell of a Boss incident. After an argument about Hell of a Boss and also Me6 blocking swear words in the server, uh, we accidentally let it slip that I had a private channel where I was complaining about Gwen, and we all got kicked out. Nostalgia Critic AVG and Yowie, also shortened to AVG and C. This is the pairing of Nostalgia Critic and the Angry Video Game Nerd. Nat Geo Sexy Man. I would like to think that everyone knows this, but in 2019, I spearheaded a movement on Jambler where National Geographic from Play Animal Jam was considered the Jambler Sexy Man. Twisted Whiskers, The Twisted Whiskers Show. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Cuck Knight and Grex Knight. So this is connected to the Stephen Merchant one. Stephen Merchant is that one guy, the actor who plays Paris Gnome and also Wheatley in Portal. And um he's connected to like all of these, but Cuck Knight is specifically referencing the fact that Paris Gnome gets cucked in Romeo and Juliet. Grex Knight is an edit made by some random guy on Tenor that changes our Paris Gnome gift to say Grex Knight, and then that big robot from Robots the movie shows up. I never liked Robots the movie. I rented it on Redbox when I was a child, and I thought that it sucked. Vorbot, this is our beautiful tracker bot. We've since changed what he tracks, but he tracked Vor for years. Operation Clown is the term that Brody and I used to refer to me getting with Jeremy in 2020. Chicken tender in my eye is referencing when Jody stuck a chicken tender in his eye. Realistic. Your pet goldfish was the first ever pinned message in the server, said by me the day that the server was made. I actually stole it from a Minion meme, but it's like I don't remember the full quote, but it's like I'm into the pet and master side of BDSM. I'll be your pet goldfish. Makes me think of Tiny Gasper. I blew up Malaysia. This is a Johnny Test quote that became a meme in 2020 and 2019, and we put it on a shirt with John Egbert on it, and I put that shirt in a cardboard shredder and shredded it this May. Wheatley Comics. This relates to the Stephen Merchant thing. This was a comic that I ran in like 2019 through 2020 where Wheatley goes to purgatory and gets tortured. Twisted Day. So the Twisted Whiskers show had this like official calendar thing for schools where every month you could celebrate Twisted Day, and it happens all year round or all school year round. I don't really understand it, and I doubt any schools actually use that program, but it's very funny. Eric Wheatley. This is the first ever image of Eric that was conjured by Jeremy all the way back in 2018 to give like a physical visual for what he would look like. And it's ugly as sin, and we have it as an emoji. One time he paid me in free canon passes. This was before I was a mod to remove the Eric Wheatley image from the PAJ fandom wiki. And then we just brought him back. Ashton. I he's Ashton. Ashton became my friend in 6th grade when I was 12 years old. He approached me and saw that I was watching Danganronpa V3 videos on my computer, and he asked if it was hentai, head and hands. And this is how our friendship started. We're still friends today. He's actually doing quite fine. He's very normal now. He's in a band and he's like going to engineering school. He wants to become an auto repair mechanic. He's a very boring guy now. Wheatley IRL refers to, back to the Stephen Merchant point, a Twitter user who claimed to be the real life version of Wheatley and lied for several months about going to a Polish psych ward where there was like chains on the bed and blood on the floor. But then, like, he was also doing fine and was normal, I guess, and wasn't being abused. It's a boy. This is referring to an anonymous asexual remake video edit meme that Jeremy posts all the time. You've seen it. Leonardo is a dictatorish piece of shit. This was a big copy pasta, actually posted October 11th or 12th of 2020 by Drink about how Leonardo is an evil abuser, and they used it multiple times to justify why I couldn't like him. The Ape is Dead is a comic that references Eric killing Bigfoot in 2019. Jeremy's Perfect Party Palace fan fiction was Five Nights at Freddy's fan fiction made by Jeremy that coined the phrase the perfect party palace. Was the name of the party palace, and that is the inspiration for the server name. Firestar Copy Pasta. I don't even understand why I made this, but this was a copy pasta I made that I set to remind myself through Septipus. I think just to test the feature. Either way, you've seen it. It posts in general chat every year. Alistair turns into radio happened after we watched The Brave Little Toaster, and is a meme that I made multiple fanfics about that proposes that Radio, after dying in the second movie because he commits suicide in The Brave Little Toaster 2, turns into Alistair from Hazbin Hotel. Joe Holly Sands comes from 2019 and is literally just an image of Joe Holly edited to be Sands from Undertale that I would put on my school projects and just posted a lot. And he was my icon for a very long time. Joe Holly Sands is actually one of the things that me and Moro joked about a lot before we broke up. Seti. Seti is the iCarly pairing of Sam and Freddie. Um, and I did that video where I watched the like I read through the entire long SETI wiki page on the iCarly wiki. It's very long. The arch is real refers to a not real Animal Jam item that Brody insists is real. That's like a wedding arch. And he claims that he made fan art of it once. I don't think he did. I think it's fake. Aerosol Demon Nepeta RP is actually what inspired the creation of the server. In a different server where Brody and Cyrus and like Harvey and I all did role play. We got kicked out for doing a role play where a demon version of Nepeta pairs up Eridan and Solix by making them go on an adventure together after they both die. And everyone else in the server was so annoyed by it that we were told to make our own server, so we did. Dubtrack is a now defunct website where you can link YouTube videos, and through linking them, you can play them for a large audience of people. We used Dubtrack before we had Discord. We would text each other on DeviantArt, go onto Dubtrack, and then we would all sit in a Dubtrack lobby and talk about stuff. It ruined my YouTube history because any video recommended is immediately added to your YouTube history. I was getting recommended like Pokemon and Littlest Pet Shop videos and weird stuff for a while. The Eco World Wiki, which is referenced here in the image, is um a now gone wiki that we discovered, I think, in 2017. And when we discovered it, it had already been completely mauled. It was full of feet jokes and meme images and weird edits. And we decided, well, this place is already the elephant's foot of fandom wikis. We'll just make it worse. Eventually, a user named PM Hall came and got mad at us for doing this, and he deleted the wiki, and we were all very upset. I did all of these edits on my old middle school Chromebook because that's how long ago this was. Oviposition Tuesday was something that Aubrey and Jody and I did at the end of either 7th or 8th grade. I think it was 7th grade, where we proposed that the final week of school, each day would be themed after a different kink. And Tuesday was exactly what you think. And then it just became like a server meme. Barreled Gets Grounded is a series of Go Animate videos that I requested Ashton create, where Barreled from Animal Jam uh gets grounded for burning a mall and for killing people. I think there was like 3 or 4 videos in the series, and they were all very ridiculous. I miss it every day. Libidinous Fish Schlong is part of a series of wiki edits that we did to the Conjun House wiki, where we vandalized it and filled it with random garbage. And Brody put this on Gino's page as one of his aliases, and it stayed there for about 7 years completely undetected before a mod removed it and banned his account, uh, which is insane. Beefaroni and Cheese is referring to an old Club Penguin and Jambler server user who used Tumblr to harass myself and some of my friends because my friend Sam was her ex. And so I made fun of them a lot and they became sort of like a meme of sorts. Colress Ashfur is referring to a period in 2017 where I had created an extensive AU connecting Ashfur from Warrior Cats to Colress from Pokemon because I made Colress like a Yandere character, and then Ashfur is obviously like Yandere-esque. Um, this was like a meme for so long. It lasted into 2018. I had a Tumblr blog called Ask Yandere Colress that has exactly the premise that you think it does. Potassium Nil Cicerega refers to something that in 7th grade my friends and I discovered on our chemistry teacher's back wall, which was a collection of all of the elements on the periodic table as humans. And potassium was like this purple twinkish figure with a sharp nose and big glasses and like a grumpy expression. And he looked like Neil Cicerega. And so obviously we stole him. And then over the course of an extended period of time, continued taking more of these element posters until eventually our teacher was like, so many people are stealing these that I'm just giving them out. So I took all of them home. I have them all in a frame in my attic. Stomps Towards You Looking Like This refers to an old message that I made with a very buff edit of Donkey Kong. I don't even remember the context, but it's a copy pasta that's like Stomps Towards You Looking Like This, and then it's the image of Donkey Kong. Eric Wiggins's home address is exactly what you think. Eric Wiggins is the real employee that inspired the creation of the Eric we all know and love. He was in the official Animal Jam videos for a very long time and then he left. And we accidentally received his home address because your voter records are public. Make sure you go to all those voting websites and call them and ask them to remove your voting records because you can do that. Rose Name Competition was a Tumblr competition that Rosie started for characters that have rose names, and it sort of became a widespread Tumblr trend of competing characters with similar names. And so I feel like it has an honorable mention because it started a larger trend. Gamsey Milk is a nonsense phrase that we invented while playing Jackbox games in 2019 or 2020, and then it just kind of stuck around. I love Gamsey Milk. Joshua and the Broken Memories was was a series of detailed fan fictions we made in 2018 that I never finished that had interesting outsourced lore to the Joshua and the Promised Land movies detailing how Chris, the angel character, has a Nephilim son and also his ex-husband Michael. There's a lot going on there. R instead of F happened from our 2020s movie nights after I accidentally put R instead of F when someone died, and then we all just started doing that. It was a typo. They're really close to each other on the keyboard. Serena's 41318 PAJ theories. So 41318 is the year that and day that Play Animal Jam started. Day one, I was actively posting my theories about the PAJ lore into the Perfect Party Palace, and no one else gave a shit. I was alone in my temple of insanity, and in a way, I still am. Rosie and Serena canceled for Zader, so this happened in summer of 2019 under my Recap Kid handle. I was actively posting a lot of Zader content, which, let's be honest, anyone who's theming their profile after Recap Kid is probably a Zader fan because Recap Kid has an entire issue where she fantasizes about an AU where Zim and Dib own a puppy shop together and take care of puppies. Like, I'm sorry. But either way, we both got accused of being pro shipper maniacs because of Zader, and it's crazy, which is why Rosie and I have the accused of being pro ship roles on the server. And then Brody has it also because of Proto accusing him of being pro ship because of Animal Jam Alpha Discourse. This is Uncle John. I love Uncle John. Void. Void was a I think it got up to around 50 chapters at its longest fan fiction that crossovered Undertale, Five Nights at Freddy's, Conjun House, Danganronpa, Warrior Cats, and a billion other things, telling the story of Charlotte, who was the author's self-insert that was also Frisk from Undertale and the daughter of William Afton, dying and entering the universe of Conjun House, wherein she forms a romantic relationship with Pent, Jack Pent, the character from Conjun House. And after that, also adopts Holly Leaf as her cat, and then she cheats on Pent with Komaida from the Danganronpa series. It was very long, and I read it all to Cyrus, but I don't think I read it out to anybody else. Redditor of the Day was a Twitter account that I ran in 2020 through 2021, and it's exactly what you think. I ranked characters as Redditors, and then every day I would post a new one. Sprite Man. So my sister's old Roblox account, she gave me her password and she still had a ton of Robux. And so I turned her into this green, horrifying creature wearing the Sprite logo, and we called him Sprite Man, and we joked that he was superior to Pepsi Man, and also he was a devil at one point. Mac Barbs and the Hamilton role players refers to the old server members that used to exist in the server but have now since gone away. They were a group of Ponytown Hamilton role players that, for some reason, we just kind of let run wild. Eventually, we got them into Homestuck, and they were the reason why we had to make a new server because of the demon roleplay that they didn't want to hear about. I don't know where they have since gone. I hope they're all doing well. The Platinum Pepperoni is part of the series on Conjun House wiki edits. One of the things that we noticed when we found the pristine, normal quality Conjun House wiki is that it had a fan fiction section that was completely unmoderated. This fan fiction section was full of some of the most grotesque and weird garbage I have ever read in my entire life. The Platinum Pepperoni was a story about the characters Gino Fratelli and Gay Spaghetti Chef going to a sauna together, and then inside of Gino, there is a pepperoni made of platinum. I don't remember how it ends. It's been a really long time. This was 2017. Little King John is referring to the character from Rat Boy Genius Dreams Minecraft and later Rat Boy Genius The Flood. He is a narcissistic, arrogant little king guy. He has a long neck and he's sort of weevilish. I am a big fan of Little King John. He eventually became a sort of server meme of sorts just because of how much I talked about him. And soon my enjoyment of him became unironic and I made femboy art of him. Little King John is awesome. Caliborn, Caliborn reviews the slush. This is a blog that I ran in 2019, or maybe it was 2018. It might have been 2018. Yeah, I think it was. Summer of 2018, where essentially I pretended to be Caliborn reviewing people's bad fan art of the Felt and the Midnight Crew on Tumblr, because this was when I was deep in the trenches of my Felt hyperfixation. And when I was there, I was like, so many people are drawing bad art. It would be really funny if Caliborn became like a critic. The slush was something that happened on 7/11/2018, where Calliope took over the blog and trapped Caliborn in a vat of 7-Eleven Slurpee, which he then died in. Dave and Carcat drink apple juice together was the first image I ever uploaded to my public DeviantArt profile. It is an anime edit of Dave and Carcat drinking apple juice together, and it looks really bad. Snowy, short for Snowy the Snow Fox, was an original dub track server member who was very nice and cool, and she had great art. And I miss her every day. She left because she was deeply entrenched in Gwen discourse. Gwen and I were basically always trying to pull her back and forth, and she left Gwen's server during the big Cody incident. I don't know where she is now, and I have no way of knowing, and Gwen's never going to tell me, so we're giving up there. She was born in a wet cardboard box is an image of a rabbit in Animal Jam saying that exact phrase that I uploaded to Tumblr in 2019, and it became a meme so big that Wayne Radio TV reposted it. It has like 50,000 notes, and if I think about that for too long, I become suicidal. I'm a sick Steve, I like a quick diamond is from an image made by Harvey where Dave from Homestuck is listening to Minecraft parodies, and one of them says this line. This was a Party Palace invention. Golden Gate 2 is referring to a series of like jokes we had in 2020 proposing that the Golden Gate Bridge be destroyed and replaced with either a giant land mass that would be called the Golden Gate 2 or straight up just the ocean, or cut out more of California and make it longer so the Golden Gate 2 is like a longer version of the regular Golden Gate. There were a lot of different plans. Brody and Serena Ponytown reunion happened in the year of our Lord 2017, where I was doing Cuphead roleplay on Ponytown, and Brody happened to recognize me. This was after we had a big friend breakup, and we decided to get back in contact, and then we became real friends, and Brody joined the palace. Juparimon is referring to something I did twice in 2017 and I think 2016, where every single day for a month I would post new art of Julian 2 and Apari from Animal Jam as a couple. I'm a bit ashamed of this, but I have so much of this old art. Stephen Speak came from our film critics era in 2020, where it was like a secret language where every letter that you speak has to have Stephen at the end of it, and I'm gonna be honest, it was so incomprehensible, but we made like a translator for it and everything. And finally, Uncle John. So Uncle John is probably one of the more inappropriate things on here. There are or were a series of videos on YouTube where Uncle John, always played by this specific little pet shop, Greyhound 875, would be a predator and would prey on young women. And Morrow, Brody, Gwen, and I would obsessively watch these Uncle John videos because they were borderline insane. There's ones where like he goes to babysit his niece and who's also like a teenager, which is weird, and you know exactly what happens as per what I've described. They get strange. We made so much Uncle John fan art though. Morrow had a DeviantArt stamp that said Uncle John Kin. Uncle John was basically Eric before Eric was Eric. Anyway, Mituna House. Mituna House was a Conjun House spin-off meme where all of the cast of Conjun House is replaced with characters from Homestuck, specifically the Dancestors, and Mituna takes the place of Conjun. Hawk Angle is referring to a crack pairing of Gwen's furry OC, Hawk the Snow Leopard, who is a violent, cannibalistic, pedophilic drag queen, and Bill Cipher from from exactly where you think Bill Cipher is from. But then also sometimes we just shipped him with like a regular triangle that had an eye and was not Bill Cipher. Um, Gwen got very upset if people made Hawk Angle jokes. She thought it was super offensive, and so we always found it very funny. Star Kid's Prophecy is a series of Warrior Cats fan fictions telling the story of the purple furred, orange eyed, laser blasting Mary Sue Starkit, who grows up to become Gleam Star. And Starkit had a companion named Jazz Song or Jazz Paw, and Jazz Paw and her acted very lesbianish at some points, and so we made a lot of jokes about that. Gwennifer Chicken Bones, Gwennifer spelled with a U, was a fake DeviantArt persona seen here, where I would take Gwen's old art, edit Gwenny's hair to be orange, and edit her eyes to be green. This is when I was pretending to have green eyes on the internet. And I used Gwennifer Chicken Bones to make fun of and steal her art because it made her mad. And eventually, Cyrus found this account and thought it was very funny, and this is how we became friends. And then Brody also found this account. This was when I was in my troll era. Clans Brawl. This was a Homestuck as Warrior Cats AU that I made in 2019 that focuses on how Caliborn tries to pull a Tiger Star 2 by rallying a group of rogues known as the Felt and trying to get them to merge all of the clans into one massive unit. Edgelord Bendy. So this is from the dub track era with Gwen and I. Bendy and the Ink Machine is like this not so good, it didn't age very well, video game about like an old rubber hose character that comes to kill you. Edgelord Bendy was a version of Bendy in the Ink Machine where he has bleeding, hyper realistic eyes, he's red instead of black, and he has like an evil smile and demon horns. Edgelord Bendy, we would post him everywhere, and I made animation memes of him, and we were like constantly talking about Edgelord Bendy because we found him funny. Ace Coppola for president in 2020. This was when I was in my Gorillaz era, and I was very obsessed with Ace Coppola from the Powerpuff Girls, who's also from Gorillaz. And we declared that he would be the president in 2020. And honestly, I still think that Ace Coppola would have been better than Joe Biden. Brody and Serena are exes, guys. This is true. In like 2018, we like dated, but in quotes, because it wasn't real. It was internet. It was fake and stupid. And anyway, it was never going to work out. We were born to be best friends. Lab AU Monocubs. So the Lab AU is a Danganronpa AU where basically the main antagonist, Junko, is like a crazy doctor who turns everyone into mutants. The Monocubs are these little bear creatures that are like Monokuma, but they're his children. We made an AU where they're all turned into human children and they're like crazy and they're also mutants too. And we talked about this a lot. We did like years worth of role play and we met a ton of new friends that we added to the server because of this. Wild. Aztec Rave Monkey and Furby Hell. Furby Hell was the name of the server that preceded the palace that was made in the year of our Lord 2017. We mostly used it to talk about Homestuck. And then Aztec Rave Monkey was the first ever server meme from Furby Hell. The Aztec Rave Monkey is a loading screen in Yume Nikki of exactly what you think. It's an Aztec dressed monkey that flashes very bright colors. And uh yeah, I don't know if I really need to explain that. We would just post him a lot, and like my server name in there is still Aztec Rave Monkey. Colors and Juniper have their DeviantArt stolen by Lark and Gwen. Colors and Juniper were old server members. I think I've posted before that there used to be a tag yourself meme that included them. They used to be here until Colors went insane and is now friends with Gwen again. And Juniper faked her suicide. So they're not here anymore. But Lark and Gwen, when they were still together, um, made one-to-one copies of their DeviantArt pages and stole all of their OCs and wrote like weird fan fiction about them. And it was like a huge server controversy at the time that motivated me to buy Core so I could see who was viewing my DeviantArt profiles because I thought I was being stalked. Ridiculous. Sushi Pack created personal channels. Sushi Pack is a show made by American Greetings, same company that made Twisted Whiskers, that follows the story of a bunch of pieces of sentient sushi that are turned alive by magic and they fight crime. I wanted everyone to know about AG Kid Zone so bad when the server was first made in 2017 that I made a channel just to rant about my personal interests, where I went on a big spiel about Sushi Pack and about AG Kid Zone. So even though I'm saying Sushi Pack created personal channels, technically speaking, it was AG Kidzone and by extension Twisted Whiskers that created personal channels. Soulmates for life. I love AG Kidzone. Now we get to the final tier. Camp fandom joke bullshit. From 2017 to 2018, Camp was our main fandom. I have more art of Camp characters that I've made and of my like old OCs as Camp characters than I do art of Eric. I drew Camp stuff so obsessively. We had an entire friend group formed around Camp, and as you know, I met Nikki, that Nikki, through Camp. Uh, the funniest thing about this is that I don't think the show holds up in modern day. It really doesn't. I Want to Ernest came from after we stopped being into Camp. All of us got into Dream Daddy, which for some reason had a big fandom crossover with Camp. And there's a character in it. One of the datables is this guy who's a teacher, and he has like an emo teenage son named Ernest. And Ernest gets cast of Amontillado at one point, but that's not the point. Um, this was like a meme phrase that meant nothing that we constantly joked about because Ernest was like my favorite character, and so like I changed my profile picture to him and everything. And so we would constantly joke about like just this phrase and we used it a lot. I don't even remember where it came from. I'll talk about this one last. Corin Strider. This was Moro's old persona. He was also sort of an Eric XP. He was a white cat with a blue bow tie and a big toothy grin, and he had little cheeks. Corin was like an evil murderer who was crazy and he was straight. And he had like a girlfriend who was like a pearl wearing Christian girl. We had made a ton of memes about Torin. He was on par with Uncle John, where we just constantly joked about how awful and terrible he was. There's still old art of Torin in the server somewhere. I'm not reading that. So, this specific phrase for a very long time was like our catchphrase on Ponytown because back in the day in Ponytown, you could edit the ground to say any text that you wanted if it was pixelated. So you could write out any pixelated phrase. We would go to populated areas and write out this phrase on the ground as a we were here sort of thing. And so we just constantly said it all the time. Serena 2018 Elliot Roger fan art in the year of our Lord 2018. I made so much fan art of Elliot Roger, and some of it is still on my DeviantArt profile, publicly available, and some of it's on my Scratch page. It's on Scratch. I don't know how Scratch is keeping that up. You guys know who Elliot is. Saint Elliot. Saint Elliot. I'm not reading this. So this is also Bendy and the Ink Machine related. There is a character named Sammy Lawrence in Bendy and the Ink Machine, and he's like this guy who went crazy, and he wears like a bendy mask, and he's like made of ink, and he's like a walking corpse, and he's evil. Um, a very long time ago, there was a Roblox hacking incident where someone hacked the moderators of Roblox and made them post this phrase all over the public Roblox forums back when Roblox had forums. We took this phrase and we created a meme image where Sammy Lawrence is hacking the account of Joey Drew, who is one of the other characters in Bendy and the Ink Machine, and making him say this. And we ended up just turning this into its own meme phrase that we constantly said. Serena was friends with Birdie. In 2017, I became friends with Birdie's girlfriend at the time, Rosie the Rose, through Google Plus. After that, in 2018, I befriended Fontic, who was the big X, the one that Birdie dated 9 separate times. Um, and I ended up staying friends with Fontic for a pretty extended period of time, well into 2019, approaching 2020. And after that, I just kind of got bored of him and we stopped talking. But during that time, I did talk to Birdie in depth back when Birdie wasn't having active conflict. Um, I also briefly was friends with Birdie's ex Liliana the Fox. That was also in 2017. All of us met through Ponytown. I just want to reiterate Ponytown is what has connected most of the events going on here that aren't from Animal Jam. Foxy X Sands is the first ever fan fiction that I publicly posted in 2016. It This is the cover art that I made of it, and it is non-con and mpreg, and it's it was really bad. It ended up being read by a popular YouTuber, which made it blow up in views, and then I told him I lied to him and said I was 12. I was 10, and because I was 12, he felt bad and he took the video down early. So I didn't get the big boost in popularity that I could have received, but like Foxy X Sands really drove us all together. And if it weren't for the fact that I started making these troll fics and realized what true popularity kind of tasted like, I would have never made troll content in the first place, which is how Gwennifer Chicken Bones was made, which is how this whole thing came together. And finally, Rarer cult fic. So Cyrus and Harvey met because of Sans Yowie also. There is a very popular um ship between Error Sans and Ink Sans. I'm not going to go in depth and explain all of the Sans AUs to you, but essentially there's another version called Fresh Sans based on Dippy Fresh from Gravity Falls, and he looks like this, and he has shades, and he has a little hat. And Fresh X Error Sans was Cyrus and Harvey's favorite pairing. However, in the Sans AU universe, Error and Ink Sans have a son named Paper Jam, who's like a hybrid of the two of them. And so in like 2016 or so, um, Cyrus and Harvey wrote an extended fan fiction that I eventually saw and read where Paper Jam is like the runner of a cult, and there's like Yowie. And so that truly was the first thing that connected all of the palace. Anyway, I think that's everything. If you want me to explain all of the images, I think I already have, but this is the princess. This is the Huck Pride flag and Paris gnome. This is the eco world. His name is Chico. I don't know if you knew that, but he has a name. His name is Chico. This is Uncle John. This is Gwennifer Chicken Bones, and then this was the cover to Foxy X Sands. I initially wanted to use for the Eco World one or for the Paris Gnome one this image Drink made in 2020 of Lariska in front of this image that says the Vrisk course. But I decided not to do that because I think showing Lariska to all of you is like a flashbang. For those who don't know, Lariska was a 2020 Play Animal Jam meme that combines character Larry with Vriska from Homestuck. Actually. Um, but yeah, I think that's it. Thanks for watching.